on Monday to do the same thing she did. Thank you. Um, that that she did yesterday. So just taking a stride with her and work day to day with her, and maybe even hourly with her, and say, okay, this hour, this I did this yesterday. I'm not going to do this today. I want to put that in the morning. So I just would be a daily thing for her, and just schedule out her day by day. Say in the morning, when you get up in the morning, y'all start to eat breakfast, put that on the list and say, okay, today is Tuesday. Okay, where we are right now, or, and talk about the daily tasks that you may have for her, and just continuously doing that. And eventually you'll see it'll just come into play where you'll say, okay, we did this didn't work, this works now. So we're going to go with that schedule. So it just be a continuous thing that you'll work with her, and eventually things will come clear, and it'll become a good life for her, because she'll be able to schedule what she wants to do and how she feels at the time she wants to do it. So nothing is set in stone. You can always set it up to change it to meet her needs.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, we're going to go to the next slide. Welcome to those who have just joined us. We were working on the life trajectory worksheet, and we were just talking about what does it mean to have a good life. So that is one of the areas that we were working on. And then I was telling them that it's easier to say what I don't want, because right off the bat, you know what you don't want. And then once you finish that, then you can say what you do want. So we're going to move to the next slide. Okay, now this is a different life trajectory form. Let me pull it down a little bit. Okay, and so we have past experiences, because past experiences does determine your future. So I just made this, and I wanted to do an example of this. I did this with my son, and believe it or not, once you sit down and start talking to them, you will say, oh my, your eyes will open, and you will say, I never knew he felt that way. I never knew what he wanted. So, and sometimes we get so busy planning things for them, we forget to ask them what's important to them. And so the first thing is, in his past experience, completing high school. He enjoys to work out with his friends, to hang out with them. He likes playing cards, working at the Y, driving his own car, living in his own space, and we'll talk about that. Completing a job corps. That was some of the things, life past experiences, that got him where he is right now, because I'll say with job corps, he learned to be independent. He learned, of course, as a mother, I was saying, oof, I don't think he can do it, but giving him the option and letting him choose what he wants for his future really helped me to understand he can do things on his own, and he can make decisions on his own. And so from that, it focused on his future experiences, which now he's working. He still works at the Y. He's been there for 6 years. My son is artistic, but highly functioning. He is a manager for the Y. So of course I was thinking, oh my goodness, I have to tell him what to do. How is he going to be able to tell children what to do and make sure that they're doing the right thing? But we have to give them some experience and let them experience, whether they make mistakes. And that's how you learn, is having, you make mistakes, but hopefully it's not a costly mistake. And then next thing, he loves watching TV on his phone. And I keep telling him, we have a big screen TV. Why are you in your phone? It's so small. And I'm thinking about the logical things that, it's going to affect his eyes. So, but that was an experience for him. That's one of the things that he was going through. And then he loves spending time with his older brother. I have to tell you guys, and it is important as a family to sit down with the older brothers, the older sisters, the aunts, whoever is going to be in this child's network, is certainly to share these forms with them, so they understand when you look at the form, why did he choose this? If they have any questions, he's right there, or she's right there to say to them why I chose that as a life experience. And so then the next one we have, list past experience that push the arrow toward things you don't want. Okay, and another example for him was, he started college. he noticed that that wasn't something that he was into. He didn't want to do that. He thought that was hard. And even though we can encourage them to try something new, but eventually they will tell you if it didn't work for them. And so for that, we went on another goal in his that he wanted to do, and that was to work with children, following behind his mom. He thought that he enjoyed working with children. He's very friendly, and he loves to, play games and get involved and show, children different things that he's learned as an adult. So that was a good thing for him. And then for him, he had a car accident. So that wasn't a good experience for him. So he realized that now as a driver, you can't depend on just you're not the only one on the road. You have to be watching out for others. So that was a bad experience. So he is very cautious when he's driving to not only think of himself, but the other people that may be driving also. So, and then he had another experience when he was in high school. Because he's artistic, he does things a little different than everybody. And I had to tell him, not everybody is the same. We all have different dreams and the way we do things. So, even though that was a bad experience from that, he learned. So he found comfort in comforting. So working with children, he found that, by being bullied. And so if that is happening with one of his students in his groups, he's able to talk with them and share his, how he felt about it and how they can, and it's always important to talk to people and let people know what's going on. And so he shares that a lot with the younger kids. Now it's not okay to bully, and why it's important to let your parents know and other people that are in your life that can help you and guide you, and and to be successful in school and deal with bullying. Because believe it or not, it even starts from zero. I'll say from 3. Working with the preschool, we had things that you would not believe that a 3-year-old would say to his friend that I'm not your friend. And so learning all that, and that just, that let him know that it's okay to talk about any situations that you may have. So now we go to a good life. He knows what he doesn't want. He doesn't want to live with his mom. He wants to be independent. And so I was like, wow, I thought he wanted to live with me forever. I was excited about that, but no, he didn't. And so, and then he doesn't like to work at the Y, but he does find it, he's happy about the things that he's been able to share with children and seeing the good outcome in what he shared with them. So these are good experiences that he's had. And so he wants to be open to maybe look at some new different things. So this form, okay, so the next to the right, the next one, what you want a good life to look like. So what does he want for his good life to look like? He wants to own a tea shop. He wants to listen to music. He being able to continue to travel. He loves to travel. Who doesn't when you have the money? Okay, so, and then the next thing is what he doesn't want. He knows he doesn't want to be poor, and he doesn't want to have poor health. So those things that will take you back, those experiences, what he doesn't want takes him back to, okay, I need to get a job where I have benefits so I can or I start a business where I can afford my own insurance. So those are just different things. Your past experience, your future life experience, they guide you through those life stages. Remember, we talked about from 0 to adulthood, and each experience that you have will guide you to what you either want or you don't want in your life. I'm going to share, I want everyone to have an opportunity with this form. If you've worked on it, can you kind of let us know, speaking with the person that you've worked with the disability or yourself, what you found would be helpful in this form?
Well, I did have a conversation with Christian, and it was kind of interesting, things that I had assumed. I knew that he would probably want to stay in his family home, but I didn't know that he really had no overwhelming desire to ever have a roommate or anybody else with him. And surprisingly, this is going to sound silly, but we've always had dogs. His dad and I are big dog people. And he just basically told me, I don't want the responsibility of a pet. And I was really surprised that he saw life as living in his house with his fan collection, going to work, but not having any pets, any kind of responsibility, nobody in his space, just him in his house. And that kind of surprised me.
Yeah, and so
That's the kind of thing. Yeah, I'm sorry, Inger. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about when we say, hey, these are conversations that if you start them, maybe guiding yourself from these forms, you'll find out a lot of stuff that you didn't know. Like your son, he saw himself being independent, but he knew he didn't want the responsibility of a pet. And maybe you just assume everybody likes dogs, he will want to have a dog. He's just saying, you know what, I've looked at that practical side of the life with a dog and I don't need it. So that's exactly what these forms will do.
Right, it will get you to thinking and helping to understand because sometimes we can't see our vision unless it's put on paper or unless we have a conversation. And so this form is definitely something because it's telling you how he sees his good life.
Exactly. And if I may say, for example, in the case of Anne's daughter, then maybe she has some regressions health-wise. Maybe she won't be able to, I don't know, she might or might not, in any case, live independently. No, okay, then consider what is exactly what she wouldn't like, even if she's not going to live independently. Okay, let's focus then in, she wouldn't want to have more than, I don't know, 2 attendants, just looking at some practical things. And even if they're not that practical, but anything that you can write on those forms will really guide you on all the details that you might have to plan out for her future.
Right. And so it's really a thinking piece. And you can use this in so many things we talked about too. You can use this in your work, to decide when somebody new comes to the job site and you want to know what their past experience will make them successful in this job. So, and then I know a bunch of us, well, I'm just going to say me, would like to lose weight. So what happened in my past that got me where I am right now? I don't want to do that anymore. So if I'm eating late at night and laying in the bed, okay, that's not something I want to do. So you can use this form in so many different ways, in your life experiences, to say what you want and don't want. It is not necessary that you say, okay, I'm just going to focus on this part of my life. You can use this in any area of your life, and it can help you to guide what you want, what you don't want, to what you really do want in life. So we're going to move on to the next. Anybody have any questions about this form? Did anyone else want to talk about their experience using this form? Okay, we're going to move to the next. Okay, now everybody, Christine has a lovely story how she worked with her families using the integrated STAR support. But I'm going to go through, let me see if I can make it a little, can you guys see this form? I realize that it's a little small.
Yeah.
Oops. Oh, okay. Can you see it? Oops. Go back. There we go. Now,
yes.
So this form, did anyone have an opportunity to look at this form, and or is this your first time looking at it? You can chat in the box, yes or no, I didn't use it, and if you want to talk about it, you're welcome, and then we'll go back and look at it, some of the information we put in there, because it doesn't have a one way of doing this form or working this form. It's all about what you're comfortable in doing. So anyone have any questions or want to tell us how you feel about this form?
I haven't directly filled it out, but I thought about it, and one thing I found useful about it is that it identified areas like under relationships. I realized that the network that I have, the social network, isn't as strong as I would like for my son. So what I find useful about it is it gives me areas that I need to focus on.
Right. Right. I agree with you, because sometimes we forget about okay, it's important to be social. We forget about that. And then, By the way, we need to look at what we're going to need and get eligible for, because as we get older, there are different needs that we may have. So this is just a great forum to look at the community base, what's out there for you. And you can use this as, like, this forum talks about employment. What are you going to need to be successful in a job? You know, it could be transportation. Am I going to need a computer? Do I need computer skills? How am I at meeting new people? Maybe I might not want to work in a big company where there are so many people to meet and I'm interacting with them every day. I might want to look at a smaller company where there's maybe just a few people that I have to interact with. And it's all about what that person is comfortable with. And as I said, you can use this form in so many different ways. When I talk about, you know, losing weight, you can do that. You can do that when you start a new company. As I said, a new job, what are you going to need? And then also some of the personal strengths and assets that you have. You want to, you know, write that down, because so many times we forget that we have strengths too, that we're able to adapt to any situation. And some of my personal strengths, I would say that I talk a lot. I love to talk. I love to laugh, you know, so that's one of my strengths. So I put that forward when I'm speaking with someone. And so, and letting them know, okay, hey, this is who I am. I love being on camera. I love, you know, so it just depends what's a strength to you. You want to definitely put that forward in your knowledge, your personal knowledge of any job that you're performing, or even just in household chores. We always say about children, it's important that when they start in school, that you start asking about what do they look when they start talking around 5 years old. You want to start talking to them about what do they see their future being. And it changes over, because I remember my son saying he wanted to be an engineer. Okay, an engineer came to talk to them in the school. And from that, he said, Mom, I want to do that. And he talked about that for years. And then he went, I think I was doing parenting classes, and he went to a parenting class with me. And he saw the interaction of the other people in the class. And he was like, you know what, Mom, I want to do that too. So guess what he's into? Instead of being an engineer, he is now working with the public. He's guiding parents. So this is a perfect example of what you can use the integrating support star to kind of gauge what's important to you and how you can help them to be successful. So anybody have any questions about this one now that we've kind of talked about it? Let me see, did we really talk about, and just remember about the community support that you're going to need. How are you going to get that? How are you going to apply for SSI? How are you going to use an ABLE card? Those are some of the things I have to say that we have some training, monthly training. So just remember, if that's some information that you want to know about, using that as your network, you can go ahead and start marking that down, because you know what they don't have now and what they'll need for the future to support them. So definitely go ahead and start talking with them about that now.
Right.
Okay, so we're going to move to the next one. Now, this one, mapping family roles. Did anybody get to work on that? This is where you get the network started, where you're talking about who's in your group, who's going to be supporting you. That could be family, friends. If you're going to need support as far as the community, who's going to be in my group, who's going to be supporting you and being successful, helping you be successful and supporting you in each area of your life. So did anybody get this form?
As Tammy was saying, once you go through maybe one form or the next one, you can realize that you might be needing to make your circle or your network a little bigger.
Larger.
That's not always the case, larger, exactly. But yes, I work these forms on myself and my future plans, not exactly on anybody else, because that was part of our homework. And it is very interesting when you realize oh, maybe I'm not counting with this or that person that I like, that I love. I think this friend loves me enough to do this for me in the future if I need to. It's good to sit down and think about it. And the more for your child with a disability, you might find out that you need to strengthen some relationships if it is necessary, or have those conversations with people that you want near your child with a disability in the future. This is a
Right.
form that will really put you to think, and I do recommend that you go through it.
Right, because it's going to help you strengthen your
Mhm.
networking and who is going to come into your circle. It's not to say if you pass away, but if you're no longer able to support that person physically, and helping them through whatever tasks they do daily, this is a form that you can look at and say, okay, like for instance, it says who loves and cares about, and I put myself in, this is Inger. And I was saying, you know, who cares more about me? Okay, my children, CJ and Nikki, but also I have a husband. Okay, I have 5 sisters. So who is going to be that person is going to love and care enough to make sure that my daily needs are met? So it just depends. Just make sure when you're creating your network that you're looking at the people that you deal with daily, because say a neighbor, if you know your neighbor comes over, if they don't hear from you, they come over and they say, hey, I was just checking on you, I hadn't seen you. And I think that's so important, because even a person with a disability or without a disability, they need that support, you know. So just be willing to, you know, if they're willing to work with you, be willing to share with them, or anyone. Just make your network so large, so if anything is going on, somebody will step into that place. When that one person can't do it, there's another person that'll be able to support you in whatever it is. And then it
Exactly.
says, yes, and then
Yeah, and
so
I was, oh,
go
sorry,
ahead.
Inger.
No, no,
I
no, go
was
ahead.
just gonna, supporting what you just said, is that sometimes you'll find that you have a big circle. I mean, that happens. That happens, that you might be a person with a lot of friends or an extensive family. They all love you. They all love your child with a disability. Then this tool, what we'll do is just help to start those conversations with those people. Maybe you'll find that you don't need to enlarge your circle, but yeah, let's have some serious conversation about what could happen and what he or she would need, my child with a disability, and how specifically that person can help.
Right. And it's always good to make sure when you're going to point someone to do whatever the task is, that they're willing to do it. Because sometimes we just assume, oh, my sister, she'll take care of me. But she may have a lot on her plate and not be able to do that. So I would definitely bring her into the fold, into the network, but also ask her, here's this form. Okay, where would you fit in this form? You know, if you just want to be supported by calling me every day and just, you know, seeing if I'm okay, or, you know, what can I do for you specially? And the thing, it's so important that we just, sometimes you have to share. And some of us, it's so hard to share, especially when we have children with a disability. We think that someone is not going to be willing to help. But if you tell them, hey, this is what I need you to do, are you able to do that? So can I put you on this list to say, you're going to make sure that he comes over, I call him, or I say to her that, hey, have you taken your medicine? So it just depends on where you are, and in your networking, to be able to share. And you can't just assume that because they're your sister, your friend, your best friend, your cousin, that they're going to be there. And it's always important that you allow them to make the decision of where they want to fit in your network. And so these are just some of the questions that you may want to go and look at, because it just asks who helps. Well, this form was for me, and who could be the advocate in planning meetings and things like that. You know, you have some people in your family that you know that are very good with planning, that they remember the dates and times and they keep you on task. That's the person you might want to have in that spot. So, okay, I know you plan good parties. I know you're going to make people be on time. You're going to have the supplies I need. So therefore, that is a good person. That's a person to put right in that spot. in that spot. And, you know, sometimes we do have partners, husband, wives, friends that we really need the support from them. And it's always, it's just always say, just talk to them and let them know what you expect from them and how they can fit into this charting and mapping the roles for your family. And we found that one good thing about this was that in a family, when you get to, I don't know if you guys have family reunions, we always get together and you have that small family reunion. Christmas, I know for us at my mom and dad's house, every holiday or any big event, we find ourselves at the table. So that's when you want to go, okay, we know we're going to do this. I'm going to bring this form and we're going to sit and casually have a conversation about where do you fit in my networking. Okay, so this is a great forum. Just planning out roles for your family and friends or neighbors or whomever may be in your support system. Okay, anybody have any questions about the mapping form that we have? No. Well, I would say, I want to ask you guys, have you thought about who's in your network? Anyone want to share?
I just know I need to work on mine. You know, we've moved around quite the dogs, we moved around quite a bit for work. My family lives in the Mid-Atlantic states. And so I have some work to do.
Right, but yeah, because you know, there are families that do move for either job or what have you, and so they have constantly having to update and set up that new network. But we have resources here at Family to Family Network that will kind of help you. See, we said network at the end, right? So we are always sharing referrals and resources with you. So don't hesitate to reach out to whatever need that you may have, and we can see if we can assist you. Okay?
Yeah, and I just wanted to agree with Tammy, is that when you don't have family, you know, and there's a high level of need, you know, so it's very difficult to expect or even ask about what role when you're, you know, others will play or might play when, you know, there's just very limited people around. So I find that a challenge.
Yeah. We're sure that is challenging, and I wanted to bring in the subject right now that you're mentioning it. We have a class that is about building personal networks. It's going to be on November 18. It's also a virtual class. I do think Tammy's already signed up. And it's going to be with somebody from parent to parent. So they have a whole system for that. If you think that could help you a little bit, we invite you to sign in too. That's going to be November 18th.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, so don't forget that. And there are a lot of things as far as the support in the community. We have a lot of resources and training that we're doing. So I always tell people, don't forget to go onto our website and go ahead and register for anything that you feel that is important to you and you want to put in help with your network, because there are a lot of support groups that are out there for people who come to the state of Texas, and there are a lot of different things from California that are provided for you that are no longer provided to you when you get to Texas. So it's really important to reach out for those resources and don't hesitate to ask the question. It's okay to call, like you know, if we don't know the answer, we can probably let me tell you, Mary Jane, our executive director, it's not one question I haven't asked her. She hasn't looked at me and go, what? You know, so just know that we are one of your support systems. We're someone out there that can give you that support, because it is really hard when you come to a state and you know no one. And the services that you receive in somewhere else is no longer available to you here. So just know that, so you might want to put Family to Family Network on a sheet of paper with the name, the email, and our website, because we have information, moving to Texas information, Texas parent to parent information is also on there. So there are a lot of resources for you. Hello, Teresa, how are you? And so is everyone ready to kind of look through the profile and see how you may put the information that you will go back, since some of you have not been able to work on the forms, to go back and might help you to clarify some of those questions that are in your in this profile, this one-page profile. And some of you may have already done that through some of the agencies that you work with. So just know, if you have any questions about that, we can stop, ask us. We have plenty of time. And even after we finish, I want to be a good steward of your time. So if there's anyone that wants to stop and work on it after we finish the call, you're more than welcome. So we're going to take this first part. We're going back to people like or admire, what they admire about me. And that will be your child when you have a conversation with him. So what do people like about you? What do they think, that why they enjoy spending time with you? You want to put that in that slot, because sometimes we don't even think about the good things about ourselves. We always can see the good things in others, but sometimes we're in this group, and every time you're not there, they're disappointed. They're calling you and asking you why you're not there. So just look at what people like and admire about you. Ask them that question. What do they think? And then the next thing would be, what is important to me? So with all of those forms, life trajectory, you've talked about what you're doing and what you do like. You can go ahead and put that information. What's going to be important to me? If I'm 16, when I get 21, what is going to be important? Am I going to be living on my own? Am I going to be supported by my parents? Am I going to still live at home? What are those things that's going to be important to you to have a good life? Because what it is about being financially available to be able to afford some of the things that you will need, especially college. College is a big thing. If they want to go to college, you need to start at zero. And sometimes they would say, as soon as you found out, oh, I'm having a boy or girl, okay, yeah, he or she may want to go to college. So how am I going to make that happen? Hi, Matthew, how are you? Welcome. And so just remember, think about some of the important things for them. Now, this is a form that I know Christina has worked with that with her family. And this part is so important, because if you don't let them decide what is important to them, how are they living a good life? Are they living a good life according to you, or are they living a good life according to themselves? So it's really important to ask those questions to them. And sometimes you'll be very surprised at the answers they will give you, because I never knew my son wanted to own a tea shop. Who knew? You know, I thought he wanted to be a gamer. I don't know. And I know he wants to go. What's a good life for him is he loves to travel. So that's something that's going to be important to him for the future, is to be able to financially be able to take trips that he would like to, because I know he wants to go to Japan. He wants to learn, he loves that culture. So definitely that's in his plans, to be able to set up financially to be able to get to that goal that he wants, is to travel to Japan. So that's something we want to, that's important to him. So definitely document that and go back. This is not a one-time form that you can do, because things change. A new experience comes in their life, and they say, oh, you know what? All those plans that we talked about, I'm 16. Well, I was 16 when I filled out this form. Okay, I need to go back to the table and work on a new form, because now I want to be a stewardess, or I want to be a chef, you know? And so we need to look at what's important for me to start. Is it for me going back to school, me learning how to cook, going to a culinary school? What is going to make me as a person, and that is important to me in my life, to have that good life? And then the next form is how do I best support that person with a disability? It may be you or your child. How are we going to support you? Are we going to make sure that you have technology? We're going to make sure that any community programs that you want to be involved in, if I need to take my medication, or I'm going to have good health insurance. These are things in order to have a good life and support them. Make sure they make their appointments. If they have, say they're in school, make sure they're on task, get that support and get accommodations for them to help them be successful. All those things is very important as you support them, but just remember, it's their good life. Okay, anybody have any questions or want to share some of the things that you're thinking as you look at this form? Miss Tammy, any? Miss Ann?
I'd like to mention, I hope somebody can share, but I'd like to also mention that this one-page profile can just resume or get into it, everything that the process that we went through with all the forms, and it can just stay there for as long as it is valid, but you can change it just in case our family role changes. It'll be very handy, or somebody new comes in your life of your child with a disability. And that's how you can just tell in one sheet to somebody, hey, my child likes this or does not like this. They want their life to be like this, and they don't want their life to be like this. Please, Tammy or Ann, share with us. What do you want?
I personally wish that this form were part, when I look back, you know, Christian's been out of school, out of the public school now 2 years. I wish a form like this is how we started the ARD meeting. I wish this is how we started the IEP, because the conversations would be very different if we started this way.
Understand that, yes.
Right, and that is in one of our, if you can go back and look in the last class we had, we did talk about art, how you bring all this information, especially the family trajectory, and you say what is important to my child as you make those plans, and you write down what's the questions that you want to ask, where your child is in his education, where you want him to go, what is the focus going to be, and how comfortable he is in a classroom setting. You always want to remember to say to them, I want my child included and everything, because it has changed. It used to be where they would take children out of a classroom and put them in a group with other children, but now they're included in everything that's going on in that child's education. They're sharing it with their peers. So it's really important that you can take these forms and adapt them to the art meeting that you're going to have. Yes, ma'am.
It's just, I think sometimes the caseworkers and the people that put together, the special ed people who put together, they have so many kids. The schools are so big. I think sometimes they forget they're dealing with human beings. And I can say that I'm married to an educator, so I understand the issues. I understand we're in a 4,000 kid high school, but ultimately their role is they're dealing with people, not paperwork.
Right. And but because of the way the system is geared is toward getting every child to meet a certain goal, but not every child is fitted into one box. And so, and as an educator, you have to think about that, but we get, and I do understand, we get so bogged down about the paperwork and we forget the individual, which is that child that we're trying to educate and move him on to the next stage in his life. So, and I would say as a parent, it's really important that you are the advocate for your child, that you're saying to, you don't let them just pass it up and have a goal for that they set for the whole entire school be set for your child. That's when you take these forms and you say, okay, I was here this year. Okay, he was successful in this task. So now I don't want him to have that same task coming this year unless he didn't meet that goal. So it's very important that you use all of your documentation to keep moving in that stage from elementary to middle school to high school. And then remember we talked about transitioning. It is, you come to where you're 18 now. Okay, what am I gonna do? I never set a goal. So if you use all of this documentation, you have a written you have written documentation. Okay, this is what he wanted back when he was 8, when he was 10. It's changed. He's 12 now. He's 16. He's 21, and you just continue to change it to make them to help them with the best life. And you'll see, as you start working with things, you'll see, okay, that experience didn't go so well, and so I know next time I don't want that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Also, Anne, for example, in the chat, she's commenting, my daughter loves dance classes. This is so important to put in a one-page profile because, like Tammy says, educators sometimes forget that they're working with humans. Something like this is humanizing the subject, is humanizing the person. That is something that they might not be thinking about the people with disabilities, but now they know, oh, but she likes to dance. So that is a characteristic that's so important to put on a paper like this. That is something that she enjoys and she likes.
Right.
Also, Inger, I think Rocio has
a
hand up.
Yes, ma'am. How are you?
Would you like to share?
Hi, good afternoon.
Hello.
How are you?
Amazing presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There was something that was said about this being part of the IEP. Is there any reason why it can't be? I mean, I know that parent statements are allowed and parents can ask for like a parent statement to be part of the IEP. And but like the way that you're doing it, this format is so much better because it really tells more of a story, of a person's journey, and it's very person-centered and family-centered. And it really, so that anyone who picks up an IEP would be able to know not just about goals or where there's a deficit or, just that, be that like what they call about that stranger test, that it's supposed to be able to pass that, anybody should, but this is something that a person can really connect with your child and be fully invested and understanding, and true comprehension is what I mean. So is there any reason why that can't be part of, like, we can't say, I want this to be part of the art. I want it to be in the file. And as it's like you said, these are living documents. They change, but they change just like they do with the art.
That's right. One thing that Anne is saying right now in the chat is it's a parent attachment. You can add it up at your art as a parent attachment. But if such thing couldn't happen, Rocio, like, oh, they can say, oh, no, we are not going to put this. It's something that you can carry with you to every one of these meetings, and you can set some time, at least a minute, to make everybody conscious that there's a one-page profile of your son or daughter with a disability. Isn't it the main reason to be in those meetings that you have to understand
the individual child?
Exactly, the individual. And in Family to Family Network, we used to have a training about a personal portfolio. Maybe many of you have heard that term. It's kind of like this, but this is only one page. But what I learned in those classes is that it is very important to always have that portfolio with you whenever there's a new year coming up in school. Go meet the teachers, go present your child, go tell them how your child is, how your child feels, how your child communicates, what they like, what they don't like. So yes, this is a page that can really help you in every situation that involves your child.
Right. And if you have questions, always ask when you're in the art, even if they say something that you don't necessarily agree with, or you think you need to come gather your information and come back and speak with the arts team. It's, as long as you are the advocate for your child, they cannot deny you.
Exactly.
So because you are the advocate for your child, if your child cannot speak for himself or herself, it's very important that we are vocal to what we know about our child, and you share that with everyone that's going to be involved with their child. Even if it's a caregiver, a new caregiver, you want to tell them, about your child. And it's easy for them to see on paper, as you may forget some things, but once you write it down, that's memory for you. You can go back and say, you know what, I can't remember what I said last time, but okay, let's go back and look at the profile page again. And this is what we said. Okay, she's she was able to do this task. Now she's moved on. She's doing something else, but you're guiding yourself by documenting everything that's happening in that child life to be able to share with whomever is involved with that child. Because it's so important. If they only see your child as what's on paper and they don't get to hear and you're not able to share with them, this is who my child is. So I would say to each and every one of you, I know some of you have already passed the stage of arts with their child, but anytime that you have a new caregiver, you're going into a new program, share with them this information that you've worked with your child and using this profile and saying what's important to them. Because it's so important that if we forget what's important to them and we just go on what the facility may say that they are offering, then if you don't give them that knowledge and then they say, well, okay, I'm just going to offer what I offer to everyone, but that's not going to fit your child. So just remember that you have to be an advocate and you have to speak for your child.
Exactly. And sometimes it can involve not just including the profile there, because most likely they're not going to find the time to look at it. It's just like at least a minute to share what it contains with the people that are together or somebody new in your child's life. As Anne, thank you, Anne, for her contribution. She's telling us that it is illegal to deny a parent attachment in the arts. So
thank you.
We know that much. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you.
See, and this is what this is about. As we share and we learn information from each one of our parents. And that's why I always tell you guys, if you have a support group that that you're interested in, check them out, because we're supporting as parents. We as adults and working with children with disabilities, sometimes we get bogged down in their needs, but we have to have support as well, because new things come available. And if you're just in that realm of taking care of your child and you don't reach out and you don't get support outside of the family or friends, sometimes you miss those new things that are happening and that your child can take advantage of. So just remember, I always say our resources are here for you. We have just a few more minutes. Is there any other comments or anything y'all want to share with the group? Because I think this is so awesome that everybody is pitching in and sharing their information, because so many times everybody know, like I always say, I don't know everything. So, and I love to learn every day. I learn something new and I say, thank you, because I learned that and I'm keep that in my back pocket.
Perfect. And what I want to say, please, we forgot to mention that before you disconnect, some people have had to disconnect before, just fill out this quick survey that I shared with you. I shared the link to it. And also don't forget to consult our website. And our calendar has all upcoming classes and events. We have a monthly class always happening. It already happened this week about Medicaid waivers, but we have a next one in November. And November 18, we have an extra class about building personal networks, as I said. So consult our website, and right there you'll find the links to just register to any of the classes. Thank you.
Right, and if you have any problems registering, just give us a call and we can help you out with that. I'm gonna, any more, don't forget, I just have to tell you, Christina talked about the surveys. Please, we need you to fill out that survey. It's so important to give us feedback, because sometimes there may be something you may, that you didn't get from us that you may be needing. So by filling out that profile, we get that information. So next time, the next group that we're working with, we'll be able to include that information in it. And so I just want to say again, thank you so much. This was a wonderful class. And just remember, we're here for you. We are part of your network. And so with resources and questions that you may have, and just remember, we have wonderful staff who has so much knowledge in the disability field. So if there's anything that you need, if it's just a question, just remember, no question is too silly. Okay. And the same question that you may ask, somebody may have the same question. Just be afraid to ask. So thank you again so much. And if you have any questions, if you have not received any of the documents, please send us in the chat to let us know so we can send you those forms out. We can mail them to you, or we can also email them to you, as long as we have your email. And once again, I want to say thank you again. And we look forward to seeing you guys in our next monthly class. We have a class monthly. Okay, just go on our website and it has a list of those classes. And okay, and it is Friday, so have a wonderful weekend.
All right, thank you. You guys too.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye. Have a great weekend.
There we go.
I was like removing people.
Oh wow. And I was thinking, oh my God, I was so ready for this. I forgot to even start the video. But
yeah, I realized that after a few minutes. I'm like, oh my God, it's not gonna have this. But that's okay. That's okay.
But you know what? I like that they all were willing to share and give information.
At least Tammy, she had looked at the forums and she had started conversations. It's just that many of the people that came today had not been in the previous classes. So I guess a couple of them were like, what? I don't have the forms. No, because it didn't come to the other classes. But I think they all left happy, don't you think?
Yeah, I think so too. For them to say this was a great meeting where they got so much information. So hey,
and I know Rocio, she's the one from Brownsville or McAllen. She's the one that's communicating this to a group of parents too. And she's liking everything because I know they don't have much support down there. So I think we can still touch ground with her to see if they want to do a group there with her and Gracie and all those people.
Right. Those two.
Gracie didn't even send in today. I don't know.
Yeah, and she did receive the forms because we mailed them to her, and I also emailed them to her as well. But oh well,
that happens. Sometimes things come up. I think we did great, and I wanted to tell you that I'm gonna look at the presentation that you sent me for next week. And I'm going to translate a few things, maybe not completely literally, but kind of. And then we can go over it, I don't know, Monday or Tuesday to see what new things we can put in the class, or if we wanted this way or another way, or.
Well, I know I was looking at it that some of the stuff in the second class we can take out if but I would really like to know if what age the children are, because I noticed that some of the people like Mabel, I know Tiffany is much older and has probably already gone through the art, so I want to take that out because most of us, we can be working on some more forms to actually finally talk about the profile a little bit sooner, or talk about the profile and then go back and present it again and let them share. You know how I wish they could send it to us like they did to us in class once they finished it. And if they wouldn't mind sharing with everyone.
Well, then we